We live in a generation where the central theme for life, or the mantra, is do whatever makes you happy. Now, the problem with this philosophy is that what if what makes me happy will end up destroying another person? Or what makes me happy will bring pain and hurt to another person? Or whatever makes me happy will demoralize or devalue the sacred right of another human being? Do I still then go ahead and do what makes me happy? We fail to understand that what makes us happy is that the things that makes us happy are not always right. So the fact that you have a desire that you think can bring you some form of emotional satisfaction and gratification does not mean that you always have to pursue it. If we do not take care, we are going to raise children who will grow up in a society where they are going to be selfish and self-centered. And the only thing they are going to think about is themselves and how to please themselves and how to attain emotional satisfaction, without thinking about the pain and the consequences that their actions will bring to the other human beings that are involved. For example, we hear on the news that two teenagers come together and scheme on how they can kill another teenager to go and get money so that they can live a pleasurable life. And we have a lot of young ladies who are, in relationship with married men, and they are not thinking about the wife in the house. They're not thinking about the fact that this man that they are with has a responsibility in the home. He has kids and a wife that he has to go home to. But everybody is thinking about themselves, what will make them happy, and what will bring them some sort of emotional satisfaction. And so, but if we keep doing this way, if we keep living like this, and we do not preach the truth and bring balance to it, then what we are going to experience is a society where there is no moral values and moral laws, and there will just be chaos. And when you take laws and order from a society, basically what you have is a group of animals who are living according to their own inclination. And so that's what we are discussing today, the problem of pleasure. My name is Oxford, and let's go straight into it. Now, first, we need to understand that pleasure by itself is not a problem. It's not a sin. The senses that we use to assimilate pleasure were created by God. For example, it was God that gave us the sense of taste so that we can appreciate a delicious meal. God gave us the sense of sight so that we can behold the beautiful things in His creation. God gave us the sense of smell so that we can smell the beautiful things that is within His creation. God gave us the sense of hearing so that we can appreciate a very good music, the sense of touch so that we can feel the warmth embrace of a loved one, or the pleasure that comes from the physical consummation between a man and a woman. So pleasure by itself is not evil. God created this pleasure for us to enjoy. But we need to understand that every pleasure, every desire, the desire to have sex, the desire to make money, the desire to be popular, the desire to be famous, every desire must be harnessed within the right institution or through the right processes. When you take the desire out of the institution, that is when it becomes a problem. That is when it becomes a problem. For example, the desire for sexual pleasure is good. God gave us that desire. It's part of our biological and physiological makeup. Our composition consists of that. So if you're young and you don't have that desire, in fact, actually there's a problem with you if you don't have that desire. So there's nothing wrong with having that desire, but God designed it that desire can only be harnessed within the institution of marriage. I know that this thing that I just said, a lot of people will disagree, and a lot of people will not go ahead with the video again. But we do not please man, it is God that we please. God created that desire to be harnessed within the institution of marriage. And when you take it outside of the institution of marriage, that is when you have a problem. So for example, you have two young couples, and these two young couples are in a relationship. The first couple decides that they are going to wait on the Lord. Now, you need to understand that we have two types of pleasure. There is the good pleasure and there is the bad pleasure. The good pleasure, you pay the price before you enjoy it. The bad pleasure, you pay the price after you have enjoyed it. There is no pleasure that is free. Every pleasure comes with a cost, comes with a price. So this first couple, They love each other, but they decide that they are going to pay the price of discipline. They are going to pay the price of courting, of respect and honor. And so this young man who has met this young lady and so much loves her, pays the price of discipline until the time comes he goes and honor this lady before her parents, and then marries her, and then now enters into that physical consummations and have that pleasure. The other couple, on the other hand, says, I don't have time to go through that process just to experience this pleasure. So we're going to have this pleasure now. Now, many times we forget to think that there are a lot of consequences that come from the actions that we take. So when you decide to go and have this pleasure right now, there are a lot of consequences, there are a lot of price that can come after you've gratified yourself with that pleasure. There is sexually transmitted disease, there is unwanted pregnancy, which now a lot of people try to escape by making it look like abortion is not a contraceptive, which is not. So you have unwanted pregnancy, you are exposing the foundation of your relationship to demonic attacks. The moment you sacrilege or you compromise on the foundation of love, you've exposed it to darkness, and the enemy can enter into that relationship at any time. You do need to understand that every pleasure that you experience, there is a price to pay. It is either you're going to pay the price now or you're going to pay the price after you've enjoyed. There are a lot of people who have destroyed their life because of one sex, because of one alcohol, because of one drug, because of one scandal, because of one greed that they couldn't control. Never assume that pleasure is free. There is no free lunch. Every pleasure that you want to experience, there is a price for it. And the good one, you pay the price before. For example, if you want to be successful in life, you don't cut the process and just go and find a devious way of making money. You pay the price now. You pay the price of discipline. You pay the price of commitment. You pay the price of hard work so that you can enjoy that pleasure in the near future. If you want the pleasure now and you think you can go ahead and kill people and do things that are illegal to attain that pleasure, do understand that you're definitely going to pay for the consequences. Now, sometimes a lot of people think that you can escape the consequences that exist in this world. Of course, Solomon says that he saw in the place of judgment there was wickedness. There are a lot of people that have escaped consequences that should have happened to them on the face of the earth, but they've never escaped the grasp of judgment that will come to them from God. Solomon is one interesting figure in the Bible. He has this paradoxical personality. He's a man that talks so much about wisdom, about discipline, about godliness. Yes, yet he never lived the life that he never lived the wisdom that he spoke. He lived an indulgent life, passion unbridled. And that's how he lived his life. And in the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 11, Solomon made this statement. He says, if you're a young man or you're a young lady, you can do whatever you want to do. You can pursue your own desire, live life to the fullest. But do understand that at the end of the day, God will bring you into judgment. For every pleasure that you have now without paying the price, you will pay the price in this lifetime or in the next lifetime. And so as young people, we need to have that at the back of our minds. The second thing is that no matter how good pleasure is, we need to know that too much of pleasure can destroy you. Solomon said in Proverbs chapter 25, he says, when you find honey, eat only what you need. Too much of it, then you will vomit. There are a lot of people, the moment they come into contact with pleasure, they cannot control themselves. You need to establish self-discipline so that passions that will get out of control, you can now bridle them and control them. A man without self-control will destroy in a minute what he took years to build. How many athletes do we know, or how many celebrities, or how many pastors, or how many businessmen who spend years and years building a credible name, building a credible company, a credible organization, a credible church, and one scandal destroyed everything they built in years. If you're a young man and a young girl and you have dreams and aspirations and you want to go far in life, now is the time to set the element of self-discipline over your life so that you don't build a big empire and then just because of one scandal, just because of one day that you couldn't control yourself. You destroy everything that you built in a day. Solomon said in Proverbs that it is better for a man to have self-control than for him to have the power to take over a city. There are a lot of people that have the dexterity, the skills to become successful. They have the discipline to build their bodies. They can go to the gym. They have the discipline to study, to learn. They have the discipline of doing business, but they don't have the discipline of controlling themselves. And if you don't have the discipline of bridling your passion and putting it under control, regardless what you build, a time will come, your own passion will destroy it. Alexander the Great was a young guy from Macedonia who conquered the known world at that time. He was such a powerful warrior. Died at a very young age. Why? Because of passion unbridled. He lived an indulgent life and died at an early age because he could not control himself. So as young people, we need to learn how to control ourselves. The last thing is that there's no amount of pleasure that can satisfy the soul. You see, when an organization create or invent an artifact or a product, usually what they do is that they put their logo on the product so that wherever the product goes to, everyone can identify that this product belongs to this company. Now, when God created man, he left a logo on man. He left an impression on man, so that wherever man goes to, man will know that he is not of this realm, that he belongs to another. And the Bible says in Ecclesiastes chapter 3 that God left eternity in the hearts of men. Now, what that means is that there is nothing within time that can satisfy the soul of man. And C.S. Lewis said this. He says, meaningless in life does not come from the weariness of pain, but the weariness of pleasure. You see, when you think that which will give you the utmost gratification, when you imagine something that will give you the utmost pleasure, and then eventually when you have it and it does not satisfy you, that is when men experience meaningless. There is no amount of pleasure that can fulfill you, because there is a deposit of eternity in your heart. Have you ever wanted something so bad and you got it, and within the first few hours you were so happy and excited, and after a day or two, the very thing that you thought would make your life so better can be there and you'll still be sad, because there is a vacuum in the heart that only God can fill. There is a story of a man and his wife. The wife the man married his wife very early, and so the wife always felt like she was missing out on life. So there was a time the man was traveling into the city and the man invited his wife. So the wife felt like this was the opportunity for her to experience everything that she's missed out on. So when they went to the hotel and they were sleeping in the night, she quickly left the bed, dressed, and went out to a club, thinking she was going to have the best day of her life. She drank, she took some drugs, slept with some men, and then came back to the house. And then when she found a way, crawled back into the bed, she started sobbing. And so the husband woke up and turned to her and said, "What's wrong with you?" She said, "Nothing." You know why? Because she realized that everything that she thought she was missing out could not satisfy her. And everything that she wanted to make her life happy was what was beside her. I'm telling you, there is no pleasure outside that you think will gratify you. There's no amount of sex that you can have. There's no amount of drugs that you can take. There's no amount of alcohol that you can take that can fulfill you. Everything you do within this time will leave you hanging for more. And only Jesus can take his place in your heart. So, as we live our lives, let us not live our life for pleasure, but let us live our life for God. And God will make sure that we enjoy the beautiful things in life. The beauty of marriage, the beauty of love, the beauty of raising kids, the beauty of having a wonderful family, the beauty of succeeding in business, the beauty of growing age together, the beauty of appreciating the wonderful things in this world. Good pleasures will draw you closer to God, whereas bad pleasures will take you far away from God. Thank you very much.